So the question is, what's going to be about the summer? The first thing we have to realize that if you're part of this group, that means that you're unfortunately, in a matzav of crisis. And in a matzav of crisis, the first thing you need to know is nothing stays the same. There is no, we're going to lead our life. We have a kid in the hospital, but we have to lead our life. We have to go to the bungalow colony. We have to, because life is our life. I mean, how much are we supposed to change just because we have a kid, Rahman al-Itzlan in Sloan Kettering, in the NYU hospital? They're going to be there over the weekend? Okay, but we have to have kids in day camp, and everything's have to. But when it comes to physical illness, we don't say that. When it comes to physical illness, even less dangerous than the danger that some of our kids are in, we're very clear. There's no has to this year. This year it's different. Right? This year it's different. Hopefully, Mitzvah Hashem, you should all next year be able to go back to regular normal life, regular whatever you were doing. That's fine. This year, there's no regular. So this year we have to focus. We have a kid in pain. We have a kid in crisis, right? And depending on your level of crisis, it's going to depend on how much dedication you have. But if you're part of this group, you're in trouble. And you have to look at it and say, hang on one second. We're going to have 8 weeks, 9 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks called summer. Summer is tremendous opportunity. Some people take off more, they don't work Friday. There's other times people take off, they go. There's more time to go off. We also have an extra budget because most people go to the bungalow colony. They spend $10,000 there, they own, they rent, whatever it is. It costs money in the summer. There's a budget. And there's also nice weather. When the weather is crummy, you have to go fly and go away. But here, it's healthier. You can walk outside, you can rent bicycles. There are things to do. You can go whitewater rafting, go rowing, you can do barbecuing. It's a time of good weather, of happiness, of health, and it could be used as family time. So the thinking that we have to have is the first step, and this is crucial and critical to be matzliach. The first step is you take whatever you think is normal and you crumble it up, and we're not fitting in saving our kid's life into a life that we had to have. So that goes bye-bye. Now we start with a blank piece of paper, and we say to ourselves, by the end of the summer, how are we going to deal with this summer in a way so by the end of the summer, we save our kid's life? We take our NKN level, the nafshik shura b'nafshe level, and it goes up 20 more points, 30 more points. What are we going to do about it? If we're going to go and we're going to behave life as usual, you're going to lose that opportunity. So we have to think about it. Oh, what can we do this summer? Maybe we'll go for 2 weeks, take that money, and we'll have a budget now. We'll go for a few weeks, go to Florida. We go here, we go there. What would blow this kid's mind? Of course, you can't ignore the needs of the other kids. We have to juggle. But the pikuach nefesh kid always comes first. Maybe we'll send some kids to sleepaway. And it's not what we will. Maybe we'll do camp at home. I don't know. But the first question is, what would be the ideal setup if we didn't have any other kids and we didn't have any other life? What would we do for this kid? Then you fit in everything else that's not pikuach nefesh into this picture, not the opposite way around. I once had a parent that was here, and he told me, I have no money. I said, I understand that. A lot of people don't have money, and I'm sorry. I know it costs money to save your kid's life, and I'm sorry you don't have money. And I have a KIP fund to try to help people who are here, but, So he was telling me, I have a good job, by the way. He makes, whatever, $250,000 a year. He said, but he showed me all of his bills. He starts saying of this bill and this bill and this bill. And he goes, I'm sending my daughter $30,000 a year. It's going to cost me at least to go to seminary. He goes, I'm not poor, so I have to pay everybody. I can't get discounts, So by the time, I have no money for this. So I said, why did you put this bill last? This is your kid's life. This is his olam hazeh and olam haba. Physical danger, emotional danger, psychiatric danger, health, stability, future, dairis, olam haba. Why does it go that if you spend everything else in the world and then there's some money left, then you spend it on the kid who's in critical condition? Why? Put this kid first, and then you spend everything else. And I feel very bad, and chas v'shalom, I wouldn't want this girl not to go to seminary. But there's nobody in the world that would tell you that a kid should go to seminary and the brother shouldn't get medical treatment. Oh, he needs a kidney? Oh, well, she needs to go to seminary. I mean, nobody should be in that situation. But it's not a tough call. I feel very bad. Someone has to, it's taka terrible. But you don't pick the seminary $30,000 over a cochlear implant. You don't pick it. If you have to make a choice, you choose the pikuach nefesh. Of course, it's sad for the girl, but you don't let her brother die or float away or whatever it was, drugs and whatever, because you don't have money. It was like, whoa, chiddush. We can't fit pikuach nefesh into our lives. Like the father told me, I don't have time to read the book. I don't have time, my manual is 1,100 pages, Kanai Nahara. So it's a lot of information in there. I don't have time. I don't have time to listen to the audio. I don't have time. So I said, what's your schedule? I said, I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. 6:30, I go to learn. From 6:30 to 7:30, I learn. 7:30 to 8:30, I daven. I go to Manhattan, whatever, to work. I come back exhausted at night. I hardly have any time to eat. No koyach. I try to daven marav with minyan, and basically I plats. I have no time. So I said to him, really, why don't you ask your Rav as follows? If you taka have no other time, so what does Hashem prefer? Would he want you davening or learning how to save your kid's life? Would he want you learning or learning, this is a manual, because your kid is in pikuach nefesh? Can you imagine a Hatzalah guy? He says, no, I couldn't learn how to do CPR, or I couldn't learn how to do the defibrillator. No, I couldn't go to that course because I have learning daf yomi. He's a nar. He's crazy. It's not the right way. I said, ask your Daas Torah, not me. Just say, I don't have time to do both. So I think what your Daas Torah is going to say, you wake up at 6 o'clock, 6:30, you put on your talis and tefillin, you say Shema, you say, Hashem, I'm learning how to save my kid's life, and you spend an hour reading the manual or the books, whatever you can get on how to save your kid's life, to understand your child, pikuach nefesh, and figure out what to do, and then listening to the audio, and then afterwards, no, ask your Rav. And he was shocked. Whoa, really? What's the shaila? We really believe that there are kids who are mamish pikuach nefesh. Now, if it's not pikuach nefesh, your Rav will tell you no. If it's safek pikuach nefesh, maybe yeah. I'm not going to make that decision for you, but it's a question that needs to be asked. And your Daas Torah, who knows you and your situation, needs to answer it. And of course, his Daas Torah looked at him and said, what's the shaila? You're not allowed to go daven while somebody's drowning. You're not allowed to go daven while you're learning how to do life-saving, which you know you're going to need. It's your child. It's not even a suffix, and of course you shouldn't do it. No, he ended up sticking to his schedule, but he found another hour. You know what they say, if you only have a half an hour, should you, I forgot exactly how it goes, but like, what was the other one? Should you learn halacha or musar, or daven or musar? And the answer is learn musar, because then you'll find the other half an hour, right? So he got the musar and he found it already, and you find the money, you'll find everything. The point is, this is a tragedy that happened to your families. It's tragedy. And you can't fit it into normal life. But we go away for Pesach to the hotel. Not this year. But we stay home and not this year. There's no normal when it comes to dealing with an abnormal situation. So you got to just empty everything out and say, we will dedicate ourselves in every way to first and foremost make sure that by the time Rosh Hashanah comes, whatever level your NKN is, 20, 60, 80, it will be more. And we will dedicate the time and the money and the effort to have as much fun with this kid, getting them out of depression, getting them out of anxiety, whatever's getting them down and giving them fun and fun and fun. It's going to be the summer of his lifetime or her lifetime. That's the focus. That's number one. Number two, how would you like to spend an entire summer when you walk outside and you have 4,000 eyes looking at you? You're weird. You're different. How could you expect a kip, someone who's off the derech, who dresses off the derech, to live 2 months in a bungalow colony surrounded by a bunch of kids and a bunch of people who you know, and they're very hypersensitive and they care and they have feelings. Every time they walk outside, everybody, they see it. There's a Goldschmidt, I remember when he was... Nobody likes anybody looking at them. Nobody likes people talking about them. And nobody likes to be the problem. And they're going to have to go out, where am I going to smoke? I'm going to smoke up over there. And then some, did they see me? Didn't see me? You're setting yourself up for a lot of problems. You're putting your kid in a traumatic situation where they're going to be triggered. Unless you're in a place like where I am, you're all invited. My bungalow colony is so warm and loving and accepting. We have few kips, and they're very comfortable there. Sometimes a car can come, can go, a cigarette, a this, a phone, doesn't matter. Everybody's either trained and loving and understanding, or very scared of me. I'm not telling you, because you're all going to come. We don't have enough room for all of you. Prices are going to go up in Garden View. Oop, I just said it, okay? Very nice, wonderful people, non-judgmental people. Nobody thinks they're better than anybody else over there, as far as this anyway. Anyway, so you're all welcome to come. But if you're going to different places, you know, they're embarrassed to walk outside, especially if you're going to a very religious place, and they go to the pool in bright red bathing suit, and everybody else goes and changes at the pool in the very whatever, and everybody's going to be looking at them, and everybody points, who's that? That's the housekeeper, that's the housekeeper's the caretaker. It's not good. Plus, you open yourself up to a risk, because there's usually one person who's very smart, and who's going to come over and tell your son, why do you have to dress like that? Come on, you can't put on pants and change at the pool. Come on, I remember your grandfather. You know all these guys, right? Oh, your grandfather. No, come on, straighten out. Or they put the arm around it, only with a smile. Put your arm. So when are you going to straighten up already? Straighten out, huh? How about getting a job? Or how about this arm, right? You know how much aggravation you're causing your parents? Come on. Why are you making them cry? I saw your mother. She looks like she aged 20 years. And it's all because of you. It's all her shaitel is turning white. It's all because of you. You don't realize how much aggravation you cause. And you open it up for bad stuff to happen. Now, we don't have rebellious kids, Baruch Hashem, that we kill the rebellion. But for those who are still in the early stages, if you have a rebellious kid, that's even worse, because they're going to be out there blowing smoke in people's faces sometimes, or things happen by accident. They didn't realize it's mamash not the zman yet of Matzah Shabbos when they go outside. And you're going to have, especially if it's a Chassidish bungalow. What's with Chassidish kids? They are so neigerig, right? Is that the word? Neigerig? Chassidish kids, the eyes are bigger than the whole head. And they go like this. And it's unbelievable. So you could be, if you're an Chassidish kid and you're doing, a bungalow, you could have 8,000 of these little eyes like this, like, looking. Right? They're like, and they're yummy. These Chassidish are very cute. And the eyes are like that, like huge eyes. And, and then the guy, the Chassidish rebel is going to say something to those kids, you could end up with a lot of problems. We don't want to have problems. So we have to look at this year as, what are we going to do? And then we're going to fit in everybody else, all the other needs, the other kids, and the rest of the family, and the siblings, of course, and the mother-in-law. Everybody has to be happy. But that by the end of the summer, we're going to use this as a tremendous opportunity to do crazy things and fun and to make them comfortable. Now, some ideas that people had, there was a family that went to a bungalow colony, and they needed to be in the bungalow colony because the mother looks forward to that pool and the friends. She couldn't live without it, and the kids are in day camp. They ended up finding, they got very lucky, without crossing any streets, right around the corner, they found a house on a street, not part of the bungalow colony. Outside of the bungalow colony, like down the thing, they found a house with a backyard. That was available. They rented it. So they had their kips there. They were able to go in the front yard, in the backyard, barbecue. They got somehow a pool or something, whatever. And there was nobody looking at their kips. And the mother was able to even walk without a car, mamash around the corner, and with the kids going to day camp back and forth, and it worked out, Baruch Hashem, beautifully. Some people not that lucky, so you have to Uber or get a scooter or a bicycle, and you bike a couple of minutes. The point is, try to find a place that's not in a bungalow colony, because you can't compare. A kip, walks outside in a bungalow colony, there's nowhere to go. Everybody's looking, there are people all around. You always got to go behind the gate, and you got to go out, and this and that. If you have a backyard, you invite their friends over. You get a guy with a guitar to come over. You make a barbecue. You be the place. You let them smoke, and nobody's looking at them. You invite over some friends Thursday night, and if you can develop this for those that are ready, it ends up being a huge, nice Kiddush Hashem, makarv them. You pick who's going to look at your kids. You're not stuck with everybody. You pick the 4 or 5 guys that are around, that have a heart, that are not judgmental. They come over to sing. They come over for shalshidis, whatever. You make it work on your turf, on your terms. When people are going to your house upstate, they have to behave and be nice to your kids. But it's different when you're going into the colony and you're bringing your wonderful heilige tzaddikim lach, but some of them don't understand that. They say, what do you have to bring your trash here? What do you have to bring this garbage here? I don't want my kids to see that. And some of them get very offended, and I'm not saying if they're right or wrong. They're wrong. I'm not going to say that. They're entitled to be, they care about their kids, and I also care about their kids. I just think that we can raise our kids like I raised my kids. I did it. I exposed them to all this stuff, and I trained them to understand we're lucky, right? I'm not scared. My kids should see that. We're lucky for what we have, and they want to be like us, and we have a chiyuv to make everybody happy and to be makarev. But anyway, we're not going to get into that whole subject. The point is, you cannot afford to be, no, we always go to the bungalow colony. We always stay home and we go up for weekends. There's no always this year. Not this year. Not this year. There's no always. Think about it. What can you do that's going to work? Plus, we have a lot of problems. Parents say, oh, we made a plan. I'm going to be home with him during the week, and then Friday we're both going to drive up together, and we're going to be in the bungalow colony for the weekend together. Yeah. How many kids, how many times have parents do this? And it's unbelievable. Then on Friday, the kid says, oh, I don't feel well, I can't get up, don't make me go. And all of a sudden, you're leaving, and your home, okay, is empty with your kip. Now, our kids in TP are not rebellious, and they're not lahachas, and they're calm, so there might be some remnants left of your house. But if the other people out there, when there's an open house and the parents are fighting with them, forget about it. Hope you have really good insurance, okay? Make that payment. Make sure before, on the way up, you pay double, just in case. You make sure you have insurance. When you come back, you're not going to recognize your house. And it's not because the kids are bad. They only invited 5 or 10 people. But the problem was that some idiot posted it on Facebook, and somebody happened to post it on Instagram, and then what happens is, and it happens many times, that you have a group of people that are not so wild, a whole other group comes that's much more wild, and they can't tell them no. We have so many kids that are like, stop it, and then they don't care. They don't even know who owns the house. There's alcohol, and they break things, and anything could happen, and you're out there in your bungalow colony. And you can't believe, I'm shocked that he canceled on me. I mean, because he's so reliable, right? Because he was always so reliable. And a time is a time. You really thought he's going to get up and go. Come on. It just doesn't work. So we avoid problems. Don't set yourself up for situations, okay? And they're not all evil. A lot of these kids are really I love them. But some of them, it depends on their level of confusion, they're not in the mood of schlepping up. I would not want to go every week to a bungalow colony where everybody looks down at me. I wouldn't, and I'm Baruch Hashem not a kip. I would not want to go to whatever colony if they're looking at me like, ooh, that's the guy, and every time I want to go to the pool, I have to go. I wouldn't want it. And if I have to do it, after a couple of weeks, I also Friday afternoon would not feel so good. I have to feel good. If I'm depressed, like sometimes they're depressed, they also should pull themselves out of bed for this huge experience to going to whatever, huh? Bungalow colony. I mean, for what? To go stand online for the ice cream truck for an hour and a half with a bunch of kids who think that you're a guy, and they look at you as much as you Suicidal and Suicidal and conform, and they still looking at you funny, and all the parents are suspicious of you. This is not a geschmack experience, and I think it's traumatizing, and it's not smart. So you have to look at all situations like this, by the way. You have to look at it by the time Rosh Hashanah comes. By the way, you know what happens after the summer? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. You know what that means? A lot of gefilte fish. It's talking about a lot of yontif and a lot of times that you can't go out, a lot of meals. You need, by then, the self-esteem of these kids to be much higher, to be able to tolerate things. It's not easy. The schedules, the kids are not in school, the sukkahs and everything. 3-day yontif. Oh, wow, I love those. But for a kip, you're going to need a lot of tolerance. So if you can go ahead and use the summer and do trips and fun, all levels of fun, then by the time the summer is over, you'll have some credit, you'll have a healthier kid, and you'll have credit, you have a much better chance of El and Tishrei, working out for the benefit of everybody. So think about that. And it's the same thing. Where were you for Sukkot? Well, every year we blah, blah, blah. It's not every year. This Sukkot is different. What can we do to maximize the days off that we're going to have? We're anyway have 3 days of Yontif. So it means you go the day before, you come back the day after, so you have 5 days. Where would be the healthiest place for our entire family to be? Everybody. Maybe this year we're going to rent a home somewhere or go to a bungalow, so we'll have space and we're not going to be in the middle of the shchuna, in the middle of the neighborhood. Think out of the box. You know why? Because there's no box anymore. The box is shattered. There's no box. Think about it. Where are we going? What are we planning? And we spend money anyway. Could be it's only a little bit more. Could be it's even less. And we can go to a different place. You can go to Sackett Lake. Somebody went last year to Sackett Lake. And they had sukkahs on the lake. There's a minion somewhere, but nobody sees them. He took a family. Each kip, they had a few, and each one brought 1 or 2 friends. And they said it was beautiful. Beautiful, with sunsets by the lake, and it was calm, and the whole thing was very cheap. It was not a big deal. So we have to think out of the box and think about what is the way to achieve our goal. When we get the kip healthy, the whole family gets better. It's less tension, right? Everybody's happier. And that's our focus right now. And you make sure that it's going to be something that's also going to work for the other kids. There are answers that are good for everybody. Of course, sometimes we ask them to give in a little bit. We have to reward them for that. The other siblings sometimes give up. Change of environment. I've seen everything. I've seen people that they went away for 3 weeks to Eretz Yisrael. I saw people went 3 weeks different, there's 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, split it up. But the focus is what's going to be the way that in 3 months from now, we will say, wow, we had hours and hours of F-U-N, fun with the kip. Break them out of the depression, take them out of their seeing buildings and people and regular and communities, get them out to see whatever they think is fun. Health, that's what we want. We want them to be healthy, and nothing else should stand in the way.